What's up everybody, Ryan from Athix Fitness here again, and back at it with the whiteboard. If you haven't already watched episode 1 and 2, that's going to be an overview, and it's going to be training programming, which is very, very important. Not to say nutrition isn't important here, but just go watch those episodes first. Did you go yet?
Tick-tock, motherfucker!
Alright, cool. So we're going to go on to plant-based eating for your goals. This is going to be an overview for the next 2 episodes for cutting and bulking. This is basically going to be going over things like calorie counting, figuring out your maintenance, figuring out when to bulk or cut or if you need to, things like that. So let's get started. Most importantly is going to be finding your maintenance calories. Maintenance calories is basically the calories that you eat every day to stay the same exact weight that you are. So the weight on the scale wouldn't be going up or down much from day to day eating this way. There's obviously going to be variabilities in your daily amount of activity, but it shouldn't be so much to the point that your maintenance calories will be that thrown off. For example, I eat about 2,800 calories every single day to stay 180 pounds body weight at about 11% body fat, which I am right now. I only know that because I have religiously done calorie counting throughout the years, and I know exactly how much I've been eating for the past a month or 2 at this point to stay exactly the same weight. There are TDEE calculators, which means total daily energy expenditure. That's how many calories you expend per day plus your basal metabolic rate. That should give you your maintenance calories, but the problem is these calculators aren't perfect for person to person, and there's differences there, so they're not 100% reliable. If you Google search TDEE Calculator, you'll find something, and that'll give you a decent idea of where to start. But I highly recommend tracking your calories for about 5 days or so and weighing yourself on the scale every day to see if your weight goes up or down. At least 5 days, probably a couple weeks to get a really good number, to be honest. Finding your maintenance calories is going to be very important for everything else here. Body fat percentage is also something important to consider when deciding to recomp or bulk or cut. Another thing that's very important is training age, and if you're detrained. So if you're a novice or just getting started with barbell lifts or proper programming in general, then your best bet is going to be to recomp, which basically means building muscle and losing fat at the same time, which will not be possible for someone who's trained for many years with proper programming. If you're a novice, regardless of your body fat percentage, you can probably do a recomp as long as you just start getting into lifting and good lifting and you're eating somewhat decently. You should be able to build muscle and lose fat. So for most novices who are just getting into serious weight training, I highly recommend this strategy. Don't worry about a bulk or cut, just start lifting and pretty much keep eating maintenance calories, and you should be able to put on muscle and lose fat, which is ideal for you. So if you're above 20%, then your best bet is to lower your calories from maintenance a little bit. You'll still be able to put on muscle from a slight decrease in calories, but you'll also lose fat too. So I'd recommend that. For people who are underweight or very skinny, definitely bump up your calories a little bit. I would try to add 250 calories roughly to your maintenance. You could try keeping your maintenance calories for a while at first. That'll probably be a good bet to still build muscle. If you really want to put on size quick, I would say add 250 calories or so. So after you decide if you are eligible to recomp or bulk or cut or what strategy is best for you, then you need to know how to track your progress, and that's going to give you a good idea if you need to adjust your goals in the future. So calorie counting with an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, you basically weigh all your food with a food scale that includes anything that's any oils or juice or anything. Count all of that and put it into your app, MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, I recommend, and you should know how much you eat every single day using that strategy. I know it's difficult for some people to do that, and I understand that you may not want to. The more advanced you get, the more I'd recommend calorie counting for your goals, but starting off, you can just get a general idea. If you only want to track for a few days or so, it'll give you a good idea where you're eating at and how much to eat every day to try to reach your goal over time. Regardless of calorie counting or not, if you track your body weight on a scale, at least, I would say once per week, I'd probably measure it more often than that if you can. But if the body weight is trending in the right direction over time, that's a good sign. It's a bit difficult to track body weights for novices who are also just starting to get into weight training because their muscle will be increasing, potentially just as fast as they're losing fat. So that could skew the scale around a bit. So if your goal is to lose fat, obviously the added muscle would change the weight on the scale. But that is very helpful to consider the more advanced you get because you won't be building as much muscle at that point. So the variables are limited. Another really helpful way to track your progress is with a mirror. So just looking at yourself in the mirror, figuring it out if you look more muscular, if you look leaner, that's very reliable. You can take photos over time and judge your progress in the past. I think this is extremely helpful for novices who are getting used to strength training again, because they'll be putting on a lot of muscle and probably losing fat at the same time. So if you're looking better over time, obviously you're doing something right. So just taking these pictures or going by the mirror in general, that's a great way to track your progress.
The precious purple hours.
Body part measurements are a great way too. So if your bicep size is increasing, your waist size is going down, obviously great markers right there, but I understand that's a bit difficult to track for everybody. You could probably do that once a week and get a good idea there. If you want to write it down, you could record that. That's another way of judging past progress. Obviously strength, if your numbers are going up in the gym, that's a good sign that you're building muscle, but also that could be indicative of weight gain also. So tracking all these measurements, they go hand in hand. So I would suggest trying to do at least a few of these. I personally do calorie counting and I weigh myself on the scale all the time. My muscle mass and fat mass doesn't change often, and if it does, then I know with calorie counting that it eliminates other variables. So I know exactly how much to eat to gain weight and exactly how much to eat to lose weight. So I'll know which direction I'm trending that way. You should always, no matter if you're bulking, cutting, recomping, whatever, aim to get 10 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. If you're cutting, vegetables are lower in calories, so they may be a better source in that case. They contain tons of micronutrients, actually a decent amount of protein, so that can count towards your protein intake for the day, and low in calories. So fruit is generally a bit higher in calories, might not be as great for cutting, but if you're eating generally high calories or maintenance, then you should be able to fit both in, and I'd recommend eating both for a healthy long-term diet.
How'd you do that?
Work out, plenty of rest, you know, eat your green vegetables.
You should also be concerned with getting enough omega-3s per day, so that can come in the form of ALA, DHA, or EPA. DHA and EPA are pretty scarce in plant-based diet. They usually come from marine sources of, fish is the most common, or other seafood. You can get some from seaweed and other sea vegetables, but let's be honest, how often are you guys eating that? Probably not that much. Another more reliable way is to just supplement with algae supplements, and that has your DHA and EPA for the day. You could probably take a DHA supplement from algae twice a week and you'll be fine, probably even less. I would also recommend a marine algae derived DHA and EPA supplement in general for everybody, because fish contains more contaminants than sea vegetables and algae, where they get it from. It basically bioaccumulates up the food chain. So if people are taking fish oil, it probably has a lot of contaminants in it. If they're eating a lot of fish, lots of mercury, everyone knows that's a problem. So I'd recommend these algae supplements for everybody. ALA is also a great form, but it must convert in the body to DHA and EPA, long chain fatty acids, which it does happen, but it's at a pretty low rate. You can get your ALA from hemp and flax seeds and chia seeds. If you are very concerned with getting enough, I would probably just take the supplement. Women convert ALA to DHA in the body quicker and more efficiently than men. If you're a woman, congratulations, there you go. But otherwise, I would probably recommend this supplement for most people. Obviously, fiber shouldn't be much of a problem for anyone on a plant-based diet. We probably get more than enough fiber. Fiber is one of the best determinants for if you're going to live a long, healthy life, judging by blue zone populations and such. The more fiber, probably the better. So I'd recommend, at the very least, the minimum should be 30 grams per day if you're on a very low calorie diet. I'd recommend anywhere up to like 120 grams of fiber. It's not gonna hurt you. The only thing is there's some problems with bloating and digestion if you just jump up to a very high fiber diet, and that has to do with the composition of your gut microbiome. It just can't handle as much fiber. So over time, slowly increase more and more. That will increase your microbiota to help deal with the fiber better. Don't jump from eating 15 grams a day to 100. That's going to give you terrible digestion problems. You're not going to feel good about it. That's why some people report problems with plant-based diet. Macronutrients are obviously very important for eating for your fitness goals. I'd recommend anywhere from 0.8 grams per pound of body weight to 1 gram per pound of body weight for ideal body composition. If you're not as concerned with reaching your ideal body composition as quick as you can or as efficiently, then this might not be as much of a concern. You could probably get away with like 0.6. Generally, 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day is recommended. Where you eat your protein from doesn't really matter. We'll get into that more in the protein section, but just to give you a brief overview, I would say set your protein levels there. Your fat should be about 20% of your daily intake, and carbs should take the rest of your calories up there. So wherever your fat and protein macros fall, your carbs should take up the rest of the calories for that. Also, obviously, limit saturated fat, salt, and trans fat. Saturated fat leads to higher cholesterol levels, can lead to plaque buildup in the arteries. You don't want that. It's probably going to be pretty unlikely that you eat a ton of saturated fat on a plant-based diet. It is possible if you eat a lot of junk food though, so I'd say keep that lower for the most part. Salt, if you have problems with high blood pressure, minimize that. It's probably not going to be an issue for you, but just to say, don't eat 5,000 milligrams every single day or above. That could be a little too much. And obviously trans fat, that's a no-no. It's absolutely one of the worst things you could eat there. Meat has naturally occurring trans fats. That's the reason why meat isn't good for you, but also don't eat things like, funfetti or whatever, or like cake frosting that has a ton of trans fat. Some of it does. Most of it's not common in America anymore, but just to let you know, that's absolutely terrible for your health. So these are all the essentials for a good diet. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave a comment below and I'll get back to them individually. This will set you in the right direction for sure. I hope that helped you guys. Subscribe if you aren't already. I'm excited to keep up with the rest of the series with you guys, and thanks for watching. All right, see ya.